horrible at guitar. Just listen to yourself play, bro. Cringe. When are you gonna stop making the babe's ears bleed? Now listen, I'm going to be straight up with you. A lot of guitar players sound really atrocious because they don't learn the concept of how to play in key. This got me fired from my first band, and rightfully so, because the things I was playing on guitar were heinously awful. Good news, I'm going to teach you how to fix this problem by taking you through a tutorial on how to practically apply the circle of fifths. We'll talk about scales, chords, and the relationship these two fundamental aspects share within the context of a key. Even though you sound horrible now, you can start to turn that around and sound great by signing up for my free music theory email newsletter, free tabs, tips, and tricks. Go deeper into music theory with my full course down in the description below, and sell your soul to me on Patreon to reach the full level 9,000. That's all of my tabs and courses. All right. Now I'm going to need some hydration to get through this. So raise your chalice of WAP juice. Cheers. It's Friday. Let's have a good time. Oh, disgusting. Fortunately, there's 69 grams of protein per sip. Now, let's transport ourselves to the magical realm of Planet Shred in Sector 666, aka Guitar Pro, the program Guitar Pro. If you don't have this program, you should get it. It's amazing for guitar players. And what we're going to do is start off with a C major scale here. I'm going to start it on the A string. Right? So this key signature that we're in right now is no sharps or flats. If you look at the circle of fifths, let me pull up the circle of fifths here. We are at 12 o'clock on the circle. C major, no sharps or flats. Thank God. Of course, C stands for country music is cool. Actually, that's rarely the case unless we're talking about bluegrass. Okay. So C major, no sharps or flats, C, D, E. Here, let's go through the notes. C, D, E. We got F, G, A, and B before it repeats back to C. Instead of guessing which notes will work, you know that if you're in the key of C, all of these notes are going to sound good. For example, the song Stairway to Heaven by Led Zeppelin. That song is in the key of C major, or you could think of it as A minor, which is actually more accurate. So let's go over A minor. Now, before we do that, going back to the circle of fifths here, A minor is the relative minor equivalent of C major. Let's write out the A minor scale here. Let's see. And there it is. So we've got A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then we're back to A. Even though they share the same notes, it's a completely different sound. It all has to do with where you place emphasis within the song. So I'm going to label this A minor scale and the C major scale. Let's just listen to these scales real quick. Let it soak into your soul. That's pretty fast to soak in. Let's just slow things down a little bit, huh? 100 beats per minute. Let's try it there. And there is the sound of C major and A minor. One is happy, boo, major, super lame. And the other one is sadness and sorrow. And we like that. Or at least I do. Now, what I'm going to tell you next is extremely important, and that is how to construct chords off each degree of the scale. So off of this first degree C, we can make a chord. Off of the second degree D, D stands for damn, I love music theory, we can construct another chord. You're blowing my mind, Shred. Yes, I know. It's incredible. So I'm going to change this to half notes here, slow things down a little bit. And the way that you construct chords, this is a good thing to know, is every other note. So C, skip D, then you have E, skip the next note, G. You see how that works? That is the fundamental concept of how you derive harmony from scales, is just play every other note. C, skip this note here, E, skip this note, and you're to G. G stands for good God, I need some more WAP juice. Rots my brain in a good way. Okay, so I'm going to use an Eric Johnson voicing principle, you know, the Cliffs of Dover guy. It's very pianistic in nature, so we're not going to go in alphabetical order, C, E, and G. I'm going to do this. I'm going to go C, G, and E. So that's basically root, fifth, and third, instead of the normal root, third, fifth. Now, why am I doing that? Because it sounds better, basically, and it's going to come in handy when we do some cadences later on. So there's C major, and then the second degree of the scale is D. Now let's build a chord on D, right? So that'd be D, and then you skip this note E, F is the next note, skip G, and A. So D, F, A, or a D minor chord. Of course, everyone knows D minor is the saddest of all keys. You say it like that if you're from across the pond. Of course, that's from Spinal Tap. And, okay, so D minor, D, F, A, or D, A, F. Now, let's start moving through these. So E minor is built on the next scale degree E, and then we're going to go to F. F stands for Frankenstein likes fudge. Just in case you didn't know that. Let's see, we're moving to G. G major is, whoops, there we go. G major is built off the G. Then we've got an A minor chord built on the A. And then we have kind of like a curveball. Whoops, not the 24th fret. There, 14th fret. That's what I was trying to do. And then what do we got? 15, and then another 15. Okay, so that's the curveball, B diminished. That one's kind of a dissonant one. Now what we're going to do is listen to all these chords. Let them seep into the very fiber of your soul. Oh yeah, ended on the dissonance. I guess we could end with a C major here and get a little bit more sweetness. Okay, good. Let's see how smart Guitar Pro is. We'll put the chord labels in here. C, yep, okay, it's getting it. It's got the drill. E minor, F stands for Frankenstein. G stands for G sus, the most holy of all chords. B diminished, and we're back to C. There may not be anything more foundational or important in your understanding of music theory than what we've just gone over right here. As I said, not knowing this got my ass kicked out of my first band. And this is really what allows you to categorize musical sound. Every song you hear is in a key. That's just the way it is, unless you listen to atonal music, and I promise you don't, unless you know who Arnold Schoenberg is. Love you, Arnold. Now let's talk about a practical way to use the information that we've discussed thus far. What we're going to do is construct a cadence around these chords. A 1, 4, and 5 cadence. So C, F, and G. And here's how it works. What we're going to do is use the power of voice leading. And actually, I'm just going to steal this first voicing right here and copy and paste that. And then the 4 chord in C is F, right? C, D, E, F stands for fudge. So how's that going to be spelled? What we're going to do is just kind of do a little stretch voicing here because that sounds amazing, voiced like that. Again, these are like Eric Johnson style voicings. Okay, then we're going to go back to the 1. This is just kind of like a standard cadence. And then we're going to do the 5. But the way that I'm voicing all of these tones is so that they sound good together. Instead of like making these huge jumps, like you're down here or whatever on the 3rd fret, and then you jump, 6 trillion frets all the way up, to the F chord. That sounds like trash. So try to use a more smooth voice leading principle when you voice chords. So here's what I mean. Have a listen. Whoops, now we're going to go back to the 1. Yeah. Okay, there, it sounds resolved, right? So if we put in the chord symbols here, basically that's C to F, back to C, out of me WAP juice, that's a G, and then we're back to C. Now, God forbid we leave the minor scale out of all this fun. Minor sounds much cooler, so we want to be sure and use that. So here's a minor cadence you could use. There's A minor, A, C, and E are the notes. And then we're going to do D minor, saddest of all chords. Then let me just copy and paste that first A minor. And then I'm going to do an E minor. This is one way you can approach Aeolian. So here's the sound. And then back to the 1 chord. Let's put in the chord symbols here so it's easier to see what's going on. A minor to D minor, back to A minor. No, that's not what we want. Guitar Pro, you're killing me. E stands for elephantitis, of course. These short musical phrases are the seeds of music composition, your ability to take information and condense it into a short phrase. It's kind of like language, right? Can you speak concise and articulately using the language of music? Are you with me so far? Is your brain fried by the 666 trillion level information I'm sharing with you? If so, let's rehydrate with some WAPian fluids. Heart attack. Okay, that was close. I nearly staved off death from that WAPian juice. If you can handle it, the 69 grams of protein make it all worth it. What we're going to do next is something completely crazy. We're going to play in a key with a sharp. So here in Guitar Pro, it has all of the keys listed. We're going to go to G. G stands for G sus, right? And there's one sharp in this key. And if you know how to read music, which you probably don't, but if you do, you would know that this is an F sharp because this top line is an F. F stands for Frankenstein, fudge, fanatic. I need more F words. Now, what I want to do is duplicate what we did in this first key, in this first example, because if you can do that, you win at life. You basically score all the babes. It's game over. You win. God mode, cheat codes enabled. That means you understand everything that you hear when it comes to music. So what do we do before? Well, step one is to write out the scale. These are the essential tones that form the language that we're going to speak musical phrases with. So we're going to start on the low E string to make this scale. G, A, B. Out of me WAP juice. C, the C word. D, E. You can do this, shred. F sharp, back to G. Okay, so that's the same scale that we played earlier, except starting on the low E string, and now we're in the key of G. So this is the G major scale. All right. What do we do next? we played the relative minor equivalent, right? So going to the circle of fifths, what we did was we started at 12 o'clock initially here, and then we moved clockwise to G and went up 5 notes. That's why it's called the circle of fifths, right? C, D, E, F, G. So here we are at G, and now we got to do the relative minor, E minor. And the way that you find relative minor is by going down a minor third from the root. So if the root is G, work backwards in the musical alphabet. This is crazy. Hurts my mind to do this. But you have to at least try. G, backwards, F, and then one more E, right? So I went backwards in the alphabet to find the relative minor. Where are we gonna play this one? Let's go up to 7. Let's try it. Let's try it here. 7, 9, 10. But that really doesn't. The numbers isn't the important part. It's E, F sharp, G, and then we have A, B, C, and then D back to E, and that gives us the E minor scale. Okay, boom, bang. Oh, it's so hard. Music theory is so hard. It's like rocket science. It's even harder than rocket science. Now let's go back and look at our first example here. So we had C major to A minor, relative minor, and then we did the chords that are derived from each scale degree. This is muy importante. You must learn this. If you do not learn this, I will come find you and I'll cut off your pinky finger with my baby guillotine. Trust me, you don't want that. All right, now how do we do this? Let's start on the low E string, right? So we'll use the same Eric Johnson voicing principle. Root, fifth, third. So that's G, D, and B. B stands for bodacious. Everyone knows that. Next chord, built off A minor. Or not built off A minor, but built off A. I just gave it all away. But it's the same process we're using before, right? So if we start in the second degree, we skip 1, boom, that's 3. So it's like 1, 3, 5. That is how you construct chords. You skip every other note in the scale. People ask me all the time, how do I figure out the chords in modes? This is the idea, is you're playing every other note from the scale. All right, so A minor is A, C, and E, but we're going to go A, E, C, because that sounds better. Okay, B minor is next, and then we have C major. What's next? D major. E minor. Now this is the one that's the oddball, right? F sharp diminished. Okay, and then we're almost there. Back to G major. Listen to how glorious these chords sound. Almost a composition in and of itself. And if you have your guitar, try playing these. Direct application is really like the best way to learn. This shouldn't be a mind-blowing concept, but as soon as you learn something, instantly apply it. And not only that, make it your own. How do you remember scales or chord progressions? The answer is by writing a piece of music with that scale or chord progression. And I promise it will attach much deeper significance to you. Now, I want to blow your mind with a concept here. So let's write out some cadences like we did before. But this time, we're going to start on different degrees of the scale. And this is essentially the concept of modes. So instead of doing the major 1, 4, and 5, that correlates with the Ionian mode, let's start on the 4th degree, which was going to be in the key of G. That's going to be C. G, A, B, C. Okay? So the scale or mode that's generated from the 4th degree of the major scale is Lydian. All right? So the Lydian chord starts the same way. You know, it's just your plain vanilla major sound, which is super stupid. Or at least, maybe it's just a little bit overdone. Can we at least agree on that? But something very special happens when we do the Lydian mode. Listen to this. Oh, so now we have this augmented 4th devil's interval in the mix. And this suddenly makes things way more interesting. If I play in major, it's typically in Lydian because I believe this is the true major. Just listen to these 2 chords. It's unreal. There's something very, what's the word? Just epic. And it just goes beyond. It's like truly inspiring. Okay, so this is the Lydian cadence. It's major 1 to major 2, or C to D major. It's very important, though, that you keep the C root in the bass, the pedal tone. I can't possibly stress just how important that is. Always use pedal tones. It's like string theory and science. The very fundamental particles of all life are pedal tones, basically, or just vibrating sound, you know, on a singular pitch. Okay, now what? So basically I went back to C here, and then we're going to voice another D chord before going back to C. So listen to this entire cadence. This is unreal. Okay, so that's the C Lydian cadence, and it sounds really badass. Wow, that's not right, Guitar Pro. Let's, for simplicity, let's just call that D. D stands for damn. Let's just keep it simple. C again, and again, this is just D. Okay, and C. So there's just 2 chords in the Lydian primary formula, C major and D major, or major 1 to major 2. Always, 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 never not include the pedal tone when you play. I don't even know if that made sense, what I just said. But the point I'm trying to make here is use pedal tones. Like, that is extremely crucial. Why? Because it provides a contextual reference point to the root. Now, we basically are just getting started on the Circle of Fifths. We didn't even really get all the way through the 2nd key here. But if you want to be a true Jedi music master, what you want to do is follow the process that I walked you through for these first 2 keys all the way around the circle. And then anything that comes your way, you're going to understand it more or less because you already have the basic groundwork and framework to process how we select chord progressions in music and the scales they're derived from. It's not rocket science, as the meme suggests. It's actually quite predictable. Human beings are not able to get down with things like atonality. It just doesn't vibrate with us. It doesn't make any sense to our ears. It makes the babe's ears bleed. Now, if you want to sound less horrible at guitar, I recommend you sign up for my free music theory email newsletter. You get free tabs, tips, and tricks delivered straight to your inbox. Gain a gargantuan grasp of music theory by checking out my full course below in the description. There's like 40 videos in that course and just an unlimited amount of tabs, guitar profiles, backing tracks. It's insane. And if you want to reach my ultimate level 9,000 instruction Sign your soul away to me on Patreon. That's all my tabs and courses. At this point, it's just an obscene amount. Plus, you get a direct line to me. And the thing that really excites me is that you guys post your own videos on Patreon so that everybody can kind of provide feedback, and it helps you gain some more awareness on what you're doing and what your sound is like. Stop listening to Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion and praise Lord Papa Het.